Exodus chapter 16, verse 16 through 36. This is what the Lord has commanded. Gather of it, each one of you, as much as he can eat. You shall each take an omer, according to the number of the persons that each of you has in his tent. And the people of Israel did so. They gathered, some more, some less. But when they measured with it an omer, whoever gathered much had nothing left over, and whoever gathered little had no lack. Each of them gathered as much as he could eat. And Moses said to them, Let no one leave any of it over till the morning. But they did not listen to Moses. Some left part of it till the morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moses was angry with them. Morning by morning they gathered it, each as much as he could eat. But when the sun grew hot, it melted. On the sixth day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers each. And when all the leaders of the congregation came and told Moses, he said to them, This is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil, and all that is left over lay aside to be kept till the morning. So they laid it aside till the morning, as Moses commanded them, and it did not stink, and there were no worms in it. Moses said, Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is a Sabbath, there will be none. On the 7th day some of the people went out to gather, but they found none. And the Lord said to Moses, How long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, on the 6th day, he gives you bread for 2 days. Remain each of you in his place. Let no one go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. Now the house of Israel called its name manna. It was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. Moses said, This is what the Lord has commanded. Let an omer of it be kept throughout your generations, so that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you out of the land of Egypt. And Moses said to Aaron, Take a jar, and put an omer of manna in it, and place it before the Lord, to be kept throughout your generations. As the Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron placed it before the testimony to be kept. The people of Israel ate the manna 40 years, till they came to a habitable land. They ate the manna till they came to the border of the land of Canaan. An omer is the 10th part of an ephah. The sanctification process is the journey towards fully trusting in God's word. In the Gospel of Matthew, there is a section where Peter and the disciples crossed the Sea of Galilee according to what Jesus told them. As they were crossing the sea, they were met with a storm, to which they found themselves fearing for their lives. In the thick of the storm, they saw Jesus walking on top of the water, and Peter responded to Jesus in this manner. Matthew chapter 14, verse 20 through 31 says, And Peter answered him, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. He said, Come. So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, Lord, save me. Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took hold of him, saying to him, O you of little faith, why did you doubt? Jesus had already told the disciples that they will be on the other side of the lake. Jesus had told them the one walking on the water is him, and that they do not need to fear. Jesus told Peter to walk on water with him, and Peter did so for a while. But Peter ultimately found himself fearing the waves and the storm over trusting in God's word. We are very much like Peter, and we are very much like the Israelites in today's passage. God instructs Moses of how to gather the manna each day. They were to gather only what they could eat for the first 6 days, and no food should remain till the next day. Even though God's command was clear, some Israelites doubted God and tried to keep some food for the next day anyways. It was a sign of doubt. They did not fully believe that God will provide this manna every day. On the 6th day, unlike the other days, the Israelites were to gather manna twice as much. This was done in order to keep the seventh day holy and rest, just as God commanded them. However, there were still some Israelites who did not listen and tried to gather food on the seventh day. They did not listen to God's word. They were in doubt. Sin, in its bare definition, is the refusal to listen and obey God's commands. Because we were born as sinners, our old self will not listen to God and doubt His words. Just as Israelites were given the time in the wilderness to learn to turn away from their old selves and to trust in God, we're also led by God to learn to trust in Him. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 7 through 11 says, "It is for discipline that you have to endure. God is treating you as sons. For what son is there whom his father does not discipline? If you are left without discipline, in which all have participated, then you are illegitimate children and not sons. Besides this, we have had earthly fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them. Shall we not much more be subject to the Father of spirits and live? For they disciplined us for a short time, as it seemed best to them. But He disciplines us for our good, that we may share His holiness. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." God is training us and disciplining us to trust in Him more and more. Let us reflect upon today's passage and ask the Lord to help us to place our trust in His words.